Welcome, everyone, visitors to the College of the Humanities Great Books program. I'm happy to see you virtually or be able to communicate with you, at least virtually, this morning. So my name is Professor Noel Salmond. I teach in the program. I teach the first year core course in the program, and I've been with the college for now over 20 years. I'm happy to be joined by fourth year student Ben Skeen, who's with us and who can also, if there are questions that come to us in the Q&A, Ben is here to also help out. And Ben, as a student, means that you have access to someone who's intimately familiar with the program from the student point of view. And I'll give you a bit of an overview from my position as a faculty member who's been involved in it for many years. So one of the first features I want to talk about is the fact that the College of the Humanities Great Books program is an effort to create a high-powered and intimate learning community within a much larger university. So we admit typically 50, 60, depending on the year, students, and they go together as a cohort year by year through the program. And so the Great Books program in the College of the Humanities is definitely a community, and it puts an enormous emphasis on interaction in the seminar setting. So we not only have lectures every week in our core courses, they're 2 1.5-hour lectures per week, but we also have the class divided into 3, sometimes 4 seminar sections where we meet in a room, we sit in a circle, maybe 12, maybe 15 students, and we discuss the text that the lectures were applied to for the week. And then that is reinforced by the fact that our classes are full year courses. So they don't just go from one semester, from September to December, but rather they go from September all the way through to April. So you really get to know the students in your class, and we as faculty members really get to know you. And then on top of that, you're going year by year as a cohort through the 4 years of the program. And so you get to know the faculty very well. The faculty are in a position to write you good letters of recommendation if you're applying for jobs or graduate school. And so that's, I would say, one of the absolutely key features of the Great Books program in the College of the Humanities. Now, the other key feature is that it's an attempt to craft a well thought out and comprehensive education in the humanities. What are the humanities? Well, they're the disciplines within a modern university that study such topics as literature, philosophy, history, religion, and not only that, the visual arts and music. And so we've put together a package, so to speak, of courses that you go through the 4 years of the program in a cohort to follow this trajectory. So it's very well thought out, and it avoids the situation where for many students in high school, they're faced with university. They really don't have any idea what it is they want to study. So they flip a coin. Heads, I'll do psychology, and tails, I might do English. But here, you're coming into a program where you're exposed to a range of these humanities disciplines, but in a very structured and well thought out format. So what are the basic prerequisites that you need in terms of your individual inclinations to do well in this program? Well, you have to love reading, and you have to love books, and you have to have a desire to discuss big ideas in books with your peers in the program and with the faculty members. So if you're not that interested in reading and you're not that interested in honing your skills in writing, perhaps the program is not for you. But if you are interested in big ideas, you are interested in reading and developing very good communication skills, both verbally in the seminars as we discuss the great books, but also in the written medium through your essays, then this is very much a place for you. So let me describe a little bit the content of the courses, and maybe Stenley, you could scroll down a bit. Yeah, well, a little bit more. Yes, so here we have a list of the types of humanities disciplines that are melded into our program over the 4 years. And so we're studying literature. We begin in the first year with some of the most ancient literature written in world history. We start with texts from ancient Mesopotamia that were originally written on cuneiform clay tablets, but are now translated and available in English, like the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's literature, but it's also religion. It's also philosophy in those ancient texts. And so among the ideas even in the first year in the ancient texts are questions of philosophy. You know, what is the ultimate nature of the universe? Why are we here? Is there an ultimate reality behind the universe, or are there multiple ultimate realities? And then we also consider questions of how should human beings get along. And so part of the concern of the program is to deal with political philosophy or political science. You know, how can societies structure themselves, and how did democracy develop in ancient Greece and then get picked up again in the modern period in Western history? So you've had a glance at the list of disciplines: literature, philosophy, religious studies, political science, art history, music history that we cover. But we do so with a focus on the most famous written texts that have been developed since the dawn of civilization. And so this page you're looking at for the curriculum is just a sample covers of the books that we consider, just 8 of them here. We are obviously reading many more than these. If I look at this screen here at the top left, this is a text that I teach in the first year, Tao Te Ching, an ancient Chinese text that considers the way of the universe known as the Tao. It hints at a fundamental Chinese notion of yin and yang. You may have heard of that, the masculine and feminine principle. And it's informed Chinese culture over the millennia. We also do a text in first year that complements the Tao Te Ching. We read the Analects of Confucius, a text of inestimable importance in Chinese civilization. So just while I'm on this point, our program is largely based on the Western European tradition, but we're not exclusively Western. So we do texts from China, from India. We also in the first year consider indigenous cultures, especially those found in Canada. And then if I look at other texts in this list, maybe we could go back to that screen, Stanley. The Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer, you know, the formative poetic works in the ancient Greek tradition. And then, of course, the sort of father of philosophers in ancient Greece, Plato and his Republic. Again, a text which is philosophy, but also political science, in that it's grappling with this idea: how can we construct a stable and harmonious society? In the vision of Plato, that was, of course, a question asked by Confucius in ancient China. We also, in the first year, expose you to classical literature, not just classical epic like the Iliad and the Odyssey, or classical philosophy like Plato, but the great plays. Euripides, Medea would be on offer in the first year. In the second year, we move. If the first year is the ancient world and the beginnings of human civilization, starting in Mesopotamia, and a segment on non-literate cultures, tribal cultures. In the second year, we move to the medieval period, starting with classical Greek and Roman thought, but moving on to the medieval period. And so one of the texts you read is the fabulous Divine Comedy by Dante, which is a reflection on the interaction between Christian faith, which has come to dominate Europe, but also the philosophy of the ancient world. So yes, in the second year, you see that you're dealing with Plato, Aristotle, then the advent of Christian thinking. So Boethius, who's sort of melding ancient philosophy with Christianity, and that's sort of culminated with Dante and his trip through heaven and hell in that fabulous imaginative work of the later Middle Ages. Maybe we could go to the next year, the third year. The next. Yes, so in the third year, in our historical trajectory, we've moved up to the period of the Renaissance, the recovery in the starting, well, in the 15th and into the 16th century in Europe, where after the period of the Middle Ages, there was the recovery of classical learning that some of which had been lost. It was recovered partially from Arab sources. And we read important, again, literary works, but literary works always have content which allows you to also reflect on religion, philosophy, and politics. So, of course, the most famous of English writers, Shakespeare, figures in the program. A political science text, Machiavelli's The Prince. And then as you move towards the early modern period, Rousseau and his works on political philosophy. So maybe the next year, Stanley, we move forward to the fourth year. We come into the modern world with a focus on the 19th and 20th century, and even into our own time. And we again look at a range of disciplines. So among the great books you look at are Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirit. You look at that movement that's partially indebted to Hegel, the communist movement articulated by Karl Marx and Engels. So you read the Communist Manifesto. You read the powerful works of Nietzsche, who reflects again going back to the classical world, but bringing it into his times. And then contemporary philosophers like Hannah Arendt, who muse on the promise, but also the tragedy of the 20th century. So the program is this, as I've said, to recap, comprehensive look at the trajectory of the human experiment on planet Earth, starting with the first written texts in the dawn of civilization and coming up to our own times. And so it's historically sequenced over the 4 years. It's comprehensive and well thought out in terms of being interdisciplinary. And it's one that's done in a community setting with a lot of contact with your professors and a lot of cooperation and contact with your fellow students. So I'm looking at the some of the questions that have come in. You can do this Bachelor of Humanities Great Books degree with a combined honors in a specific discipline. So, for instance, if you have an interest in political science, you can do the Bachelor of Humanities degree, the Great Books program, and have a joint major with poli-sci, or you can do it with English or with history if you want to have a double major on your degree, your transcript at the end of your 4 years at Carleton. You can't, but it doesn't work the other way around. You can't be a major in political science and do a minor in our Great Books program, because our Great Books program is actually, very challenging and takes up a lot of your credits over the 4 years. So you can do a minor in political science if you're a B-Hum student, but you can't do a minor in the B-Hum if you're a poli-sci student. I should mention that we've also set up some particular joint programs, one of which is with our colleagues in the journalism school at Carleton, which is a very well-known program. And for a long time, our students would come to us and they would be torn between, I really want to do your Great Books B-Hum program, but I'm also very attracted to journalism, and they had to make that painful decision. But we've now set it up with the journalism school that you can do a joint program in humanities with journalism, and so that's one of our options. Another one that we have set up is a specialization while you're doing the Great Books Bachelor of Humanities. You can do a program connected with biology, humanities and biology stream, because we've had a very significant number of our students, strangely enough, managed to get into medical school and have become physicians. And we wanted to facilitate a path for our students who might have an interest in that by setting up this arrangement whereby you can do our degree but get enough credits in biology, chemistry, and biochemistry to increase your likelihood of acceptance into a medical school. So Ben is pointing out that he's one of our people in the joint program with journalism, and so he's in a good position to answer anyone's questions about what it feels like to be in that program. I should mention that I can say a bit more in terms of my description of the program, but we'll also have a booth going on that'll go when this introductory session ends. So there'll be more opportunity for us to respond to your questions if you're thinking about it and having trouble formulating them at the moment. So what I would highly encourage any of you listening obviously is to look at the go to the Carleton website and have a look at the College of the Humanities Bachelor of Humanities Great Books material that's on our website. The other thing that we very much encourage you to do is to come and visit us. Now the campus is carefully and gradually opening up. Actually, my course that I'm teaching right now is in person on campus, and you can arrange through the college to come and sit in on a course, on a class. We very much encourage that. You can come and sit in on a lecture, or you can sit in on one of our seminars and actually see us in action. And that will, I think, help any of you who are considering coming into our program to get a very good and upfront experience of what it looks like. You can see our precinct in Patterson Hall. The Great Books program has its own dedicated lecture theater. We have our own seminar room. We have a common room or lounge dedicated to students in the Bachelor of Humanities Great Books degree program. And it would be, I think, excellent on your part if you make an arrangement through our office to come and just check out the facilities. And if you have the time, we do very much welcome you to sit in on a lecture or seminar and get a direct sense of what you might be in for if you're considering our program. Ben, would you like to add anything from your experience?
Oh, there's so much I can add for this to my experience when it comes to my experience. I mean, firstly, just talking about the space that we have in Patterson. I was just about to put it in the chat. It is a really wonderful space. It definitely, if you choose to go into this program, it starts to feel like home.
Mhm.
The Hum's Lounge in Patterson Hall is one of the best places on campus. There's always usually someone there, and it's a super inviting and welcoming space, and everyone is there to just talk and interact with each other. Some people will play board games, some people will just be open to conversation, some people will help you with work and understanding of the text that we read. 303, the lecture hall that we have, is a excellent space. If you decide to go into this, you're going to spend a lot of time there, but it's a really great place. And you have some really interesting lectures there. But we also host a lot of fun events there. We do music night, we do fight night, which is an iconic sort of staple of the humanities program, where we have professors debate students on a variety of topics from silly to serious. It's a grand old time. Um, and yeah, and the discussion room is great. You really get a sense that these are your peers, and you can communicate with them, and you can voice your ideas and interpretations of these texts. It's really just a fantastic environment, on top of the fantastic content that you would be learning in this program. So definitely recommend Patterson.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. I think yes, if you come and visit us, our lecture theater has a grand piano in it. So a lot of our students come to us with musical talent. So in the past years, we've had music nights where the lecture theater is actually a really excellent venue for students to perform for each other. And so all of that is part of creating this learning community that's the backbone of what we're trying to accomplish. I might mention a few other things that I hadn't yet referred to. One is that we have a mentorship program. So if you're coming into the Great Books Bachelor of Humanities degree, you may not know exactly what it is you want to do as a career, and we don't expect you to necessarily know that upfront. And that's why we offer a comprehensive interdisciplinary education so that you can sample courses in political science, in history, in philosophy, in English. But some students already know, oh, I'm really interested in law. I would like to eventually go to law school, or I'm really interested in um, uh, the world of the visual arts. I'd like to end up as a museum or gallery curator, or whatever. So one of the things that the college offers is a mentorship program where we will make an effort to link you up with somebody in the Ottawa community who works in the field that you have a potential career interest in. So if you're interested in law, we'll find you a lawyer in our Rolodex, our wider community of contacts within the college, and our students um, can then meet with that person. It's a very informal thing, but you meet for coffee, you might go for lunch. We've had our mentors take their mentees, to their workplace and show them around, whether it's a gallery or a law firm or even a court, etc. So that's one of the sort of add-ons that the college has. We also do cultural trips, so we will take our students to the National Gallery of Canada, and one of our art historians connected with the college will do a tour of paintings and sculptures in the collection. We also do typically every year a trip to Montreal to look at cultural sites in that city. We do trips to the National Arts Center here in Ottawa, so that you experience the symphony or opera, etc. We've also started for the last few years an annual trip to New York City, which is obviously a tremendously rich environment for culture. So those are some of the sort of additional components that go beyond simply the classroom and lectures and seminars. I should also mention that some years up to almost half of our students go abroad in the third year, so that we do have that option where Carleton has an array of universities overseas that you can go and study for. I might mention my own son went through the Bachelor of Humanities program. When he was in first year, I was on leave or on sabbatical, so I didn't have to teach him and he didn't have to listen to me. But in his third year, he had the opportunity to go abroad, and he studied at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland. But we have students studying at a whole host of universities in Europe and sometimes beyond Europe. So that's another option that's available for you. Okay, and Aaron has joined the chat and talked about other sort of social and cultural things that go on in connection with our program. So there's a question in the chat, Noemi, is it possible to combine the humanities program and the global and international studies program? Well, to be honest, there you've stumped me. That global and international studies program is comparatively new, and I would have to check on that. I mean, you could certainly do courses that would be part of that program while being a Great Books B-Hum student. But I'm off the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure whether their global and international studies program has got so many prerequisites that you couldn't do it as I think it's unlikely you can do that as a joint degree with the Bachelor of Humanities program, but I'd have to check for you on that later, or you can contact me at my email address and I can respond to you after today's session. Anything else from you, Ben, that you'd like to add?
There's a lot to say about this program, and I think going back to what you said earlier, sir, just the core strengths of this program is that it really does equip you with skills that you come to appreciate in a lot of aspects of your life. I mean, especially coming from me, I'm doing humanities and journalism, and the skills that you get from humanities is phenomenal. It's really one of the main takeaways from it. Just how you learn how to interact with sources and text and critical thinking and formulating your own ideas. It's something that can't. It's something that shouldn't be underestimated. Like I did a course on journalism ethics in second year, and everyone had struggled with that course for a bit because it's very complex ethical questions that you're dealing with, and you're dealing with some big thinkers. But if you're taking humanities courses as well in second year, you've already read Aristotle, and if you can read Aristotle, there's not much that can stump you, frankly.
Yes.
Yes, and so, I think that's one of the main benefits from it, is that I have found in my time doing humanities and journalism that each skill sort of helps, that they can improve each other. With humanities, you learn how to take in a lot of information and how to process it and synthesize it in a very, like, coherent way, and journalism teaches you how to do shorthand. So I can take excellent notes on Hegel if I need to. So there's a great amount of skill and applicability that you get when you take these courses, when you study these texts, and you really should consider what it can do. I'd say if anyone's interested, like, they do great things for you. The great books do great things. That's
Mhm.
my summation.
Yes, and thanks, Ben. I think that the journalism and humanities combined program has been very successful, and we've been very happy with the caliber of students that have joined us under that rubric. And also, I mentioned the biology and humanities setup that we have constructed to facilitate students, most of whom tend to be interested in careers in medicine, but also there are some students doing the bio-HUMS joint degree who are interested in biology and ethics, or maybe even field ecology and or environmental interests. So those are options. And as I said earlier, you can do the great books Bachelor of Humanities degree with a combined honors in any practically any arts discipline at Carleton: English, philosophy, history, religion, etc. But I might add that there's uh, nothing wrong at all with just doing the default Bachelor of Humanities Great Books program without declaring a joint major, or necessarily even a minor in one of those disciplines. And many of our students do go on to graduate school, and they can go from our Bachelor of Humanities degree into an MA program, let's say in political science, or into an MA program in history, or um, whatever. And we've been very successful in our ability to get our students into top graduate programs without any problem. And so if you go to our website and you look at our alumni profiles, that gives you a good sense of um, uh, where our graduates have ended up. Some of them have gone directly into government service here in Ottawa from the B-Hum degree, but many do go on to graduate school, and they have gotten entry into top graduate programs all over the world. So that I would recommend having a look at, just the alumni profiles, to see that what kind of direction students have taken on completion of this degree. So another question I see there: is it possible to take a language course as an elective when doing this program? Absolutely. In fact, it's not just a possibility, it's a requirement. So one of our commitments in the humanities is that to have an education in the humanities, you should have more than one language. And so all of our students have to gain proficiency at least an intermediate level, that is a second year university course in your language of choice. So we have an array of languages that our students take, from Japanese or Mandarin Chinese, through ancient languages like Latin or classical Greek, through to German, Italian, Spanish, or many of our students use French. They may have had gone through a French immersion program, but if not, then they can do the French courses at Carleton to meet that requirement. So absolutely, we regard language training as an integral part of our program. Greetings, Aaron. Thanks for coming on. Would you like to say anything to everybody from your vantage point?
Hi. Yeah, I've just been here the whole time. I haven't been able to join as a speaker, so I was just watching. Welcome. Like Ben, I'm in my 4th year of journalism and humanities. Yeah.
Good. Great. So we're coming up to the end of our session. Like I mentioned, we'll have this booth that will give you an opportunity to interact with us and try to get any further questions you might have answered. Let me repeat again that if there are potential students out there, prospective students curious about our program, but faced with a choice, shall I go direction X or direction Y? Shall I do the degree in English, or should I do humanities, or whatever other choices you're faced with? Once again, I would strongly encourage you to come and see us. Come and sit in on a lecture or a seminar, or just come in. If you can't do that, just come and see our facilities. We can easily arrange for you to meet one of us, whether it's a faculty person or one of the students who's in the program, or a couple of the students who's in the program. You can go into our student common room or lounge and just chat with people. And I think that's a very good way for you to get a sense of what you might be signing on for if you go the route of the Great Books program. On our screen is a photo of my colleague, Professor Micheline White. She does most of the contact with incoming students and organizes a lot of the recruitment events like this one. And so she would be one of the point persons to contact with any further questions you might have. But you can also contact me, noel.salmond@carleton.ca. You'll find my email address on the college website under Great Books and faculty listings. So I'm more than happy to do that. So thanks, everyone. We're at the end of our time. And if you have further questions, as I say, join us in the booth later this morning. So thank you very much. And we'll end.